back to the sports show with Bob Spino,
We're,
and we are finishing up our last episode. We went over the first division, the AL East, and seems like everybody's contenders, right, Bob?
well, they are. It's the best division, so yes, they are. And it's just a question of they really should just buy just at different degrees depending on the team. You know,
All right, so we move on to the AL Central, the all-powerful AL Central. Does any team here have a shot, Bob?
they ought to leave the league because they all are terrible. They should not be allowed to play. Um, yeah, everybody has a shot because they stink. Um,
I mean, the Royals look like they're tanking. The White Sox are 10 games out.
yeah.
I know they've got some good players, but they're not living up to their potential.
Uh, no, they're. You know what? The Royals ought to quit because they played so. They're terrible. The Yankees, actually, they're 28-72. Wow, they're worse than I thought. And you know what? They almost beat the Yankees. That's telling you something right there. They could have won at least one of those two games for sure.
Listen, we
Uh,
didn't sweep the A's, and this
yeah,
will be the first matchup that we won. We have a chance of sweeping, but we actually won the set here. So I
right.
mean,
Yeah, you won. Yeah, you won the.
the first one in July. It's
Right.
painful. We're terrible.
Um, and you know what? Whoever gets hot, like if the Guardians just do a little run, they could win a division. The Twins are garbage. They're under 500 on the road. I mean, they're garbage. Um,
Yeah, that Carlos Correa signing, I don't know. He hasn't been has he been he hasn't been worth it, has he?
unless he plays against you, he owns you. He admitted it. He loves beating you, and that's the Yankees. In case you know who you is, but yeah, I was there. He hit home runs. I was happy. I had no problem with it. But the Twins are garbage. I mean, I don't trust them. They can't beat anybody. They never could beat the Yankees, and until further notice, I'm not going to change my mind on it. Can anybody be buyers? I guess the Twins could because they're in first place. Um, I mean, I really don't know too much about what they need. I guess they need some arms. You know, they're really not very. They're not even that good at home. 27 and 22. That's not very good. So, um,
Their arms are very young right
yeah,
now. I
yeah,
mean, they're playing pretty well, a lot of those guys, but they're young. I think they're a couple years away from being real contenders. I mean, the Guardians, maybe they should look to sell. They could probably get a lot for Jose Ramirez at this point. He's one of the best players out there, one of the
they
best third
could look.
basemen.
They could look to sell, but they're in it. How can you sell when you're two games out? How can you sell?
How can you really say you're in it when you're a game under 500?
Because the team had to use 2 games over 500. That's
Yeah,
why. 3 games. That's why. I
yeah.
mean, I mean, you know, I don't know. The Twins will probably be buyers. The Indians, I'm calling them Indians. I don't care how mad you guys get. I need the views. You can get mad at me. Because to me they're still the Indians. Um, they could be. I mean, they're either way. I don't know. I don't think they're going to sell because they're still in this thing. But you're right. They could. The Tigers. You know what? They're gonna that pitcher. I believe the closer. They have a really good pitcher, right? That everybody wants. And um, the only thing they probably should sell and try to get some really good players. The Tigers, and I got a heart for them because my dad was a Tiger fan. When I was growing up. So um, they really should probably sell. But on the other hand, how are you ever going to get good if you keep giving away what few you have? So
I
I
mean,
don't know.
remember it's Miggy's last year. You maybe want to make a run for Miggy.
Yeah, right. I mean, and in that division, they actually could because they're not really out of it because of how lousy the division is. Um, let's see who else we got. The Sox.
Did the Sox blow it up? Is I think the question for the Sox. I think being 17 games under 500, you're not doing too well. So What do you do? Do you blow it up completely? Do you trade Luis Robert Jr.? Are you trading
Probably.
Eloy
Yeah, I think they
Jimenez? Those
will.
big names.
They've already had a great season in my mind, though, because they beat the Yankees. That's all they need to do. And I love them for it. I mean, they're my new second favorite team, maybe 15th favorite team. But anyway, and then we got the Royals. We won't even talk about them. I just want them to win tomorrow, and then I'll be happy. Um,
So
and
we'll
by
move
the way,
on to the AL East,
well,
AL
one thing
West
before I go
rather.
on the Royals, the catcher, they could trade him. He's really good. Perez, is that his name?
Yeah, they just signed him, I think. I mean, they
So
made him captain of the team. I think if you lose him at this point, you lose your entire identity, which not necessarily a bad thing, but you
well,
also lose everything that from
yeah,
your
but you know what?
championship run.
That team wins once every 30 years. They won in 2015. They got about 25 years to go before they win again. So what's the difference? Well, just dump them. I mean, they know what they're up against. Okay, you got the Rangers. I'm going to tell you something about the Rangers. The Dodgers took their heads off the last couple of nights. They scored 10 runs today, 11 runs last night. Or 11 runs today, 10 runs last night, whatever it was. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 16 today. They took their heads off. And I said it when the Yankees played them. You guys beat them 2 out of 3, and I called my brother. I go, these Texas stinks. They're overrated. They're stinking. They ain't good enough. And the only reason they're in first place is because the Astros aren't the Astros like they were. They wouldn't be in first place. And DeGrom, him not being there is hurting him for sure. And I wish they would just take. And they've done this couple weeks. One guy was pitching a perfect game this past week for one of the teams. They took him out in 6th inning. Another guy they took out with a no hitter. Stop it! Damn it! Stop it! That's not baseball. You're ruining it. I mean, John, we went to the no hitter, right? Me and you. We went to the Yankee no hitter.
Sadly, yes.
That was beautiful. It was
Yeah.
just a beautiful moment. But anyway, um, was it
Christian
one pitcher?
Javier had his way with us.
No.
There's
They took the pitcher out, and the next guy almost blew it. Gallo almost smacked the 3-run homer in the next inning because the shortstop made an error. Remember, he threw it over the first baseman's head. You end up with 2 guys on.
Yeah, Ryan Presley didn't do what we wanted him to do, that's for sure.
He did exactly what I wanted him to do. But be that as it may, I still wanted to see the starter do that. And by the way, he no hit you even in the playoff that year. He was amazing, that guy. And I never forget, we go to the game and I say, John, this guy they're pitching, I never heard him be any good. You look at me and go, he's pretty good, Bob. He sure is. He
And you
sure
know
is.
what? He is right now, he is in talks for Cy Young. Because he's playing so amazing. So we got him and we got Nathan Eovaldi.
Oh, your old buddy.
You remember him? He is pitching lights out.
He does
I
that
think,
everywhere he went. The only one he was always so was with the Yankees. You didn't keep him long enough.
yeah, he
You
was
didn't keep
injured
him,
with the Yankees quite a bit, and
right?
that whole they force you to not use your fastball. I mean, he's using his fastball and he's using it effectively.
Yeah, and more people are getting hurt than ever before. Leave the pitchers alone. Let them do what they got to do. Bring back the screwball. They're like, oh, it's going to hurt your arm. Really? No, nobody got hurt back then using it. Everybody gets hurt now when they throw too many fast. Just let the pitchers go. Let them go. And you know what? You really can't. If I was a bettor, I would never bet baseball right now because you could sit there in the old days and go, Tom Seaver's pitching. When I was a Met fan, I was little, they're going to win. The Mets could have 120 losses, but on those days he pitches, that's the 40 games they were going to win. And you knew it. And he did. Now you don't know. Because like Garrett Cole pitched tonight, right? They took him out when the game was 2-2. He had 10 strikeouts in 5 innings, John. But he didn't get the win because they took him out. And you know what? If it was any other team, the Yanks would have lost. But Kansas City can't hit anybody.
So
I mean,
I'm gonna say buyer for the Texas Rangers. I think that they've got
other
Corey
buyers.
Seager, Jung. I mean, Jung is playing amazing. He is gonna he probably I think he's in the running for rookie of the year here. I think he didn't qualify last year, so he should pretty much easily win it in the AL at this point.
Right.
Adolis Garcia's hurt a little bit. If he can get right, the question is the pitching. John Gray is pitching out of his mind on this team, and him being in Colorado all those years, he's had to pitch in the toughest conditions, and he's showing outside of Coors Field he can really do it. Martin Perez is struggling of late. I think one more big pitcher and they're set. If they got Otani, that would put them way over the top. I think Houston doesn't have a chance to catch them in that
You're above
division.
in that, John.
But you know, yeah, I think they get Otani. Otani might sign there long term because this core looks great. I mean, Marcus Semien, Nathaniel Lowe. I mean, these are some big names. And then you got guys like Ezekiel Duran coming up. The young core is right behind some of these veteran players. They're catchers. They got the best catcher duo in the league, I'd say, with Mitch Garver and Jonah Heim, the best
Him.
two catchers together. Jonah Heim's playing absolutely incredible.
Check this
He could
out.
win the Silver Slugger.
I didn't even realize. Like, I'm out last night and I turned on the Dodger game on the radio because I can get every game again, and it was against Texas. And Heim was up, and they're bragging about how he's smacking these home runs, and the Dodgers are winning 3-2. And the next thing you hear is a crack of the bat, and the guy goes, "It's deep, it's deep, it's going, it's going, it's caught," and he was caught right at the fence, right? And I'm just like, and they were bragging about how many home runs he's got. And I'm like, holy smoke, this guy almost beat the Dodgers. You know what I'm saying? But, and then the Dodgers never looked back. They just took off from there. But they're right, the kid's good. He's good. But
When was the last time you remember them having a decent bullpen too? I mean, they've got Aroldis Chapman. They've got Will Smith is doing amazing, just holding down the saves
right
for this team.
Right.
That was always their biggest issue, Texas. Their bullpen was awful. And this year, it's not.
You know what? Going back, I don't believe it because every year, like especially when the Jeter years, Texas was always the best team in that division, and they're gonna battle the Yankees, and and they're gonna beat them with all their hitters, and you guys beat them like a bass drum every year. And I realized then they were a joke, and I understand they were playing in a hot climate, 105, 110 in the summer. They've alleviated that problem because now they're playing inside, and that they used to wear out pretty quick, but still, it wasn't 110 in September and October, and you guys still kicked their tail. So I didn't believe in them then. They haven't proven anything different to me now. At least they're trying, and the owner's trying to buy. I think they'll buy because the owner's been buying. But until they actually do it, and again, with the lousy Yankees this year, you guys still took them out. So I don't believe in them. Let me tell you something, John. You guys are the barometer. Even now, you're not good no more, but you're still the barometer. Because in the old days, if you were great, you had to beat those guys. You had to beat the Yankees. Today, the Yankees are garbage. And if the Yankees are beating you, it means you still ain't great. No, you're still the barometer, John. Your team is the barometer. So I base everything through that team, everything. And I wish my Mets would build like George used to build.
And that's why I tell you all the time, baseball is better off when the Yankees are winning. It's a better organization.
Well, I get a lot more
as a whole.
No, it's not. But even when you're not, you know what's amazing about your team? Even when you're not great, you're still a presence. You're still there. You're still causing trouble somewhere along the line. And that's pretty much the truth. I mean,
so Rangers, buyers, Astros, buyers.
Yeah, they're not as powerful as they were. They're still pretty darn good though. They could use a batter or two. And this thing about Altuve being hurt, it definitely affected them. But they don't got other guys. You never want to get rid of too many players that help you win at all. You think you're not doing a lot, and you just get rid of this guy here and that guy there. But a lot of those times they were big cogs in the machine, bigger than you think. And if you get rid of too many, the machine goes and it dies. So, yeah, I think buyers. I think they probably they could use a batter too. And they're not going to be sellers. They're in this thing. They're technically in the pennant race. I think they're in the wild card race. They're one of the teams that will make it if the season ends. So
they're 2.5 out of the division here. So
right, that too. So yeah, sure. The Mariners. I
think if they make the right move and Texas makes the wrong move, I think that flips. That 2.5 games is gone.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't believe in Texas. And the Astros have done one thing Texas hasn't. They've won it all more than once. So that's something that you have to, Texas has never won anything. Corey Seager has, but Texas hasn't. So, yeah, you're gonna have to look at that down the stretch. Okay, we got the Mariners. Oh,
Mariners,
I don't know about them, John. I mean, they need hitting. They got the pitching and defense. They got great pitching. They're a classic example of what I say. You need hitters because they have the pitching and day. Last year they were the best team in the league. They made the least amount of errors. But you know what? They can't hit, and they play in a crazy dome. That it's not a hitter's ballpark, really.
not
But
at all.
no, but they need to hit. So they just need some bats, and I don't know what they're going to do. When you're 500, how many games are they out? Can you put that back up?
7.5.
They're
They're two
seven.
games over 500.
Yeah. See, I would never quit at 7.5, but these teams get scared. They think it's over. So they may be sellers. They might.
I
Or
don't think they'll be sellers.
they'll just stand back. They might.
The Mariners have been growing their team
Yeah.
very homegrown of
Right.
late. I mean, they made a couple acquisitions, got Teoscar Hernandez, Eugenio Suarez over the years. Seems like they get one guy outside of the organization every year, and then they build around him. So, and they're building a good core. So I wouldn't break it up either. I think we'll give them the yellow light. Maybe not
Yeah.
green light to buy or red light to sell.
Right.
We'll leave them, let's
They
hold.
just may stand pat.
Yeah.
Now here's the big one.
This is the big one.
This is the big one.
I mean, they've
Yeah,
won. They're on a
we're talking about the Angels
four
guy.
game win streak here.
Yeah, well, you know what? Your Yankees going there and getting swept. First of all, it was beautiful. Second of all, you actually helped them stay in the race. So you might have hurt yourself by them wanting to trade Otani. Yeah, those are the games you shouldn't have won, John, because they're in the middle, and you don't. I mean, they've been winning, so they're staying in the race. So do you want to keep them? The problem is, I don't know if they can because it's a big risk. He can walk if they keep him. He can walk and he can go anywhere he wants. And no, I don't think he's going with Hal. I don't. If he walks, I don't. The Dodgers will be the ones you have to worry, and the Mets, believe it or not. And but I don't. I think they're going to trade him, but every day that they win makes it harder to trade him.
The tough thing too at this point is they've got some injuries here, right? Mike Trout,
Right.
he just had a bone removed in his wrist, and he is out for 4 to 8 weeks.
Right.
They said he's
Basically,
doing well, and he should be back on the lower half of that, closer to the 4 week.
yeah,
But either way, we wish him the best.
sure.
He's
We love
he's
Mike.
one of the greatest players of this generation, so we're all better off when he's on the field.
Right.
But taking a hit like him, Brandon Drury's been having a great year. He had a great year last year. He could play multiple defensive positions, and he can hit, and they lack that without him. So those two guys, I think Sellers is the ultimate. I don't think they have enough. I don't know if they think they have enough. That's the question. Do
Yeah.
they, as an organization, think they have enough with the guys that they have coming back? I mean, their pitching is scarce. I don't see big names here, and
No,
that
no, but they brought up a couple guys, and it seems like the Yankees are the only ones that are not bringing up guys. Not that I'm picking on you guys or anything, but
shocker.
a couple of those pitchers are actually pretty good, and they, yeah, I don't know, John. If they're just in the middle, how are they going to hold him? How are they going to keep him? If they keep him, they're not going to have any room. Well, there's not a cap though, so I guess you can buy who you want if you're not afraid to spend. But I mean, I don't know.
The problem is if you sell Otani, you
I'm
should
reading that they're
you
going to
should
trade
sell
him,
everybody. You have a lot there.
right?
You can really build for the future. If you're selling Otani, there's no reason to not sell Renfro. There's no reason to not sell, Trout at that point,
Right,
right? I
right.
mean, why are you going to waste Trout? I mean, we've all been asking, why are they wasting Trout for years? Not going out and getting big names to be alongside him. I mean, they tried with Anthony Rendon, and he's been hurt every year since. It doesn't look he's a shell of himself. I don't think he's going to get back to form. But picking up Mike Moustakas is not the move that's going to take you over the top. So I think sell is the way to go. Blow it up and start from scratch.
I'm leaning sell, John, because I just don't think they can keep him. I mean, and it's a big risk. What if you don't sign with them if they keep him? They're going to trade him, I think. And I know my brother said the same thing. He thinks it too. And it's just a question of where he goes. Again, them winning though is making it hard to make this choice. But I think at the end they got to look at it like we got to get some players here because he's going to walk. And what if you don't want to stay no more? What if you don't? He's making more money off the field than on, so it ain't about money. What if you don't want to stay? So what if he wants to win? He's like you said, he's in his late 20s now. So who knows? You know.
Yep.
You know.
And then we have the
No,
Athletics.
we don't. They're buying. That's it.
They're
No,
buying. Well, listen, they can't
they're
be
losing.
sellers because what do they have to sell? They've sold everything. They sold themselves. They're trying to move to Vegas. They're over it.
Yeah, that's their big move is moving to Vegas. That's it. That's
Yep.
it. Sorry, Oakland.
National League. All right.
Well, the Braves.
NL East.
I honestly, yes, I don't think the Braves are going to do anything because they're
They don't
so
need to.
great, huh?
They don't need to.
They don't need anything. They've actually got. If they had this team against your Yankees, they would have beaten at least once. And I'll tell you why. Because they can hit and field and pitch. Back then, they could only field and pitch. They couldn't hit. And David Justice getting hurt the 1 year saved your neck. Because if he in '96, if he was playing, they'd beat you. He was the MVP of the league. So he got hurt before the World Series. He broke his leg. But they're a monster. I want them to leave the NL East is what I want them to do. I want them to go away. They're getting on my nerves, being a Met fan. But no, they're great. And they got pitching, they got hitting. Strider's great. Those pitchers are great. Another guy they just brought up, 7 shutout innings the other night. Yeah, and I remember the '86 Mets. So whenever they would bring somebody up, they won 108 games that year that John, they couldn't lose. Even the scrubs were playing like they were superstars. So, that happens when you're good. You know that you're a Yankee fan. You went through that, so you know it. And yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with the Braves. I don't think they're going to do anything. Maybe tweak one little thing, but it's nothing major. Nothing. No. And I doubt if they're even going to do that. So they're
Yeah,
standing.
I don't see any room to do that, to be honest with you, is
Mhm.
the issue. I mean, they've got their entire field. I mean, they're not Acuna, Olson, Ozuna, Riley, Murphy, Michael Harris. I mean, none of these games. Albies, Arcia is even playing well. Eddie Rosario is playing well. I mean,
X-Men.
yeah, they have no reason. So
Right.
yeah, they just have to run it back. Is essentially.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
That's right.
Phillies need to make a move.
Yeah, they do. They need pitching, I think. They got hitters. The one guy that got hurt was out the whole year, really hurt him. I went and saw them. I got on the field a couple months ago. You know what the thing is? I told my brother today. It seems like they're the team. I'm waiting for them to turn the corner like they did last year, but they haven't seen the turn yet. I thought they were. My brother asked me who I was afraid to play against when the Mets were in the playoffs last year, and I told him straight out Philly. And this is long before. And he goes, "Why them?" I go, "Because they can hit." And I'm always worried about a team that can hit. And sure as heck, they got to the World Series. But this year, it doesn't seem like it's clicking in, at least not yet. I think they need some arms.
I mean, they've got the guys. They're mostly the same team they were a year ago, and I think their guys were just clicking last year versus this year,
Yeah,
and I think that's. I don't think you sell because you still have the pieces, but you know, do you buy because you want to spark the team?
right, right. No,
I don't know.
they're not going to sell. They're in second place, and they overtook the Marlins, who were had a great year so far, and the Marlins are coming down. We knew they weren't going to keep doing what they were doing, and the Phillies knew it because when I was in the car coming home from the Philly game, the Philly announcer goes, "We know it was a big win today against the Dodgers. We know." Sooner or later, the Marlins are going to fall, and we'll be ahead of them. And sure as that can happen. So he was right. I knew the guy was right,
Yeah.
but I
I
honestly
think they just
they're
need to play better. Aaron Nola, Taiwan Walker played amazing with the Mets last year. He's been a
right.
shell of himself this
All our
year.
pitchers are gone.
Where did he go this year? Ranger Suarez. I know he was injured for a bit of the year, but he's back now. And he started out. He was pitching pretty decent, and I don't know if he's getting a little fatigued here.
Okay.
Zach Wheeler has
Who would
not
you?
been the same.
Maybe we should get a little deeper. Who do you think they should get? The Phillies.
The
Because we're just
question
by
is,
South by South.
yeah,
We got to come up with who you think they should get.
I mean, if they're gonna go for somebody, maybe go for another big name. I don't know. Maybe I'd say maybe a bat. I mean, they're pitchers. They have great pitchers. They're just not pitching as well as they could be.
Hmm.
Their bullpen's fine, I think. I think maybe doing something to shake up some of the young guys for another veteran. Trying to get maybe Nolan
Another
Arenado. I
bat.
know we keep saying it. Or, going
I
after, for first base here, Goldschmidt. You lost
wonder where he's gonna go.
yeah.
Hmm.
He should be moved at this point. And Hoskins going down, he was a first baseman.
That was big. Yeah.
It was very big. So
That
Goldschmidt could
because
be
of
the
that
guy.
reason they could use a bat. Outside of that, I still think they can use an arm. You know what I'm saying? I do.
Yeah. Who would you go after though?
Oh,
I mean, they're starting pitching. They have 5 starters here that just should be pitching better.
right. Hey, they could go after one of the Met pitchers if the Mets sell. Verlander, Scherzer, they could.
Interdivisional trading there.
I just don't think the Mets want to do it because the Mets don't like them. They
Yeah,
not. They
I
don't like each
agree.
other. They hate each other. But it's you ask me who, and they're definitely. I hope the Mets don't become sellers. I don't want it, but you know that's just you can look at that.
We can skip the Marlins. Let's talk about them. What do you want to do? As a Met fan, what do you want to happen here?
I think the Marlins should buy because they are
No, as
starting.
a Met fan.
Well, as a Met fan, I think they should all quit and let us win. Um, but no, I think they should buy because they've been in this thing all along, and they probably just need a little kick here and there. Um, they're a good team. Is that kid still batting 400?
Who?
The leadoff man. Uh, what's his name?
We're on. I went to the Mets.
Oh, the
Nobody was
Mets.
batting 400.
Okay. We so the Marlins suck. Okay. No. The Marlins. Actually, I think they should buy since they were the third team. The Mets. I think they should trade. This is actually I know they should trade a quarter of their farm system and two or three like Kana, like Marte, who all of a sudden it seems like you don't want to play for us. Nobody's not playing for him. And I know he's got some kind of injury or something, but I would get rid of him, and I would just throw them all to the Angels for Otani. They need hitting. The Mets need hitting. They can't hit. They're like the Yankees. They can't hit. And Lonto's the only power hitter they got. So they need someone to back him and protect him. And I would do it. And then I would bring up I would trade some of our pitching staff, not our two veterans. I wouldn't trade Verlander or Scherzer. But I would trade like Smith, who's garbage, who gave up the home run when Verlander beat us 1-0 the game we're at. Drew Smith or whatever the heck his name is. And I would trade a bunch of those guys because they're young and they're not that great. And but if we package it right and sell it right, like a used car salesman, we can get the Angels to take them. The only player I would not give up in the farm, we've got our own Martian. Okay, we got a guy named Kevin Pravda, and I've heard nothing but great things about him from the day we got him, and he's really tearing it up. Like you don't even realize how good he's playing down there. They're calling him the next Johnny Bench. I heard that the night they drafted him, and apparently he's not letting them down because he's really playing. And I would not get rid of him, but I get rid of everybody else.
How about something like Francisco Alvarez, Brett Beatty, Vientos, maybe somebody like Smith, maybe David Robertson, something like that for
I
Otani
like.
and Renfro. You get
Well,
two
well, you
players.
know who else they were going to throw in? They were going to throw in. Don't they have the guy from Washington, Rendon? Is that his name?
Do you need another? Do you have the
No,
IL
no. I
space
never.
to
I
add
saw. I
to add
saw
him?
like a potential trade, huh?
Do you have the IL space to add him? That's the thing. He's been a perennial IL spot
Yeah.
the,
Well,
the
sometimes
last
my
how
brother.
many years with the Angels?
Well, you know what my brother used to say: on a bad team, you stay on the injury list longer than on a team that can win. Or sometimes you want to leave so bad, you'll sit on the, you won't get healthy quicker because you're not in a rush to do it.
Then why is
That's
he there at the start of the year? That's
huh?
the question. I mean, last year he was on there and they were playing well. The Angels were one of the best teams in baseball the first half. Remember that?
Yes, I do. And you know what? They wanted to trade. Somebody actually came up with a package, Otani and him in the deal. I'm like, yeah, let's go Mets. I'm like, yeah, I would do that in a minute. But I would not trade. We could trade Alvarez, but the thing is, he's hit a lot of. He's third all time for 19-year-old in home runs. Only bench and one other player added. I forget what it was. But yeah, but I would not give up the backup kid. No. If anything, I would move one of those guys to DH because they both can hit.
If you
You
get
know,
Otani, you got no room at DH. Just remember that.
he can play the outfield. Can he play
He
the outfield?
doesn't. He doesn't. And do you really want to risk that?
Why doesn't If you're going to make that much money, you play where I tell you to play. Dave Roberts has got Mookie Betts playing second base. We know he's an outfielder. And my brother's like,
Well, he
oh,
came up in the farm system. He was a shortstop. You remember that?
no, I do not. And you know what? I tell you what, he's not a good infielder, John. He second base, he was booting balls all last year. But when he was in the outfield, you see what he did today? My brother told me what happened today. Or last night. It was last night. He threw out two guys on one play. The guy gets a base hit. So the guy on second base tries to score. He throws a strike. And first out. And then they throw back. And I guess I don't know if he was there or the ball got by. He threw to like the second base. The guy tried to take an extra base and he threw him out. I mean, he's great, John, and you know it. When he is going good, he can lead a team. And you wouldn't think you think power hitters lead a team, and Mookie's got power, but you don't think of him as like a fourth guy in the lineup, batting 4 or 5. You don't, but he can, and he can lead a team because he led that Red Sox team. He was the heart and soul of that team, and I know because that one night you guys were playing them, and I'm in the car, and I was gonna go play trivia. I refused to leave the car. He came up with the bases loaded in Fenway in 2018, and he fouled off 10 pitches in a row. And the 11th pitch he hit over the wall.
He's the kind of guy. He's the kind of guy that could be good at anything, though. That
Yeah,
guy, he
but
is one of
but
the best bowlers. If he wasn't
but
a professional baseball player, he could probably be a professional bowler.
really,
I mean, he was great at basketball. He was limited because of his size, but he's great at basketball too. I
right?
mean, Mookie just excels. He's an amazing player,
Yes.
and I'm so glad to not see him on the Red Sox anymore. I wish him the best with the Dodgers. I love watching him out there.
Yeah, my brother hates it because but no, I get it. And look, he's great, but I miss him in Boston. I can't believe after all those years they got rid of everybody. Because John Henry always wanted to buy, and it's sad to see that they're not going penny for penny with the Yankees. Although now they don't have to. The Yankees aren't going penny for penny with anybody. So thank you, Hal. Thank you, Brian. But
So Mets buyers, even
that's
though they're
I
17
want
and a
them to
half
buy.
out.
No, they could be sellers, John, because they're not very smart right now what they're doing. But I think they should be buyers. If it was up to me,
Okay. Marlins. Marlins they have a decent core. I mean, they're
I would buy them.
11,
They're in
12
it.
out.
Why would you? The only team I've ever seen that was in it, and because they were Billy Ball or Money Ball, Billy Bean, so it's Billy Ball, really. That year they were in first place, 10 games ahead of the Angels, and they just did fire sales. They got rid of your third baseman now. They got rid of Cespedes for the Mets. Um, Donaldson they got rid of, who was actually great at the time. And they got rid of all these power hitters, and they went from first to last place in 2 months, and the Angels won the division. That's the only time I've ever seen that happen. And if you're in the race, you're not going to be a seller. You're just not. And I don't think that they should be sellers the Marlins. I just don't. I think they should add maybe just I don't know. You know what? Is the kid still batting 400?
No, he's since dropped.
Where's he dropped to? How far he
Last
dropped?
last I saw, he was hovering around 380. We can look it up
Right.
here.
He better watch out because Freddie Freeman is batting like 350 now. He's terrible.
375.
He hit 2 homers today. He hit like 3 in the last 2 days. He's amazing, John. You know what? When I went to the All-Star game, the National League had 2 hits. He had them both. The rest of the whole darn All-Star team at Citi Field didn't get a hit. They got shut out. So he's a great player. But can you imagine him on the Braves now? Oh, oh. We would just give the trophy to the Braves for the next 3 years. Nobody have to play.
The issue would be where he would play on defense because that would limit you. The Braves play good
Was his,
defense, so you don't want to really mess up that core.
Oh, I know,
Uh,
but if he stayed there, first base was his. Come on. He was playing it anyway.
First baseman's Olson.
It was his when he was there. Freddie Boy played there. He played first, so it was his.
Freeman did, but
Yes.
that's So buyers here, I guess, in the Marlins.
Yes, I would tweak it.
Who would they go for? Who do you buy?
uh,
I think they need a bat and a pitcher.
yeah, they can use arms. They can use some arms. The thing is, I don't, you know, is there a lot of good players up for sale this year? Outside of Otani, you know what I mean? A
Yeah,
lot of these guys are
you got St. Louis.
St. Louis.
They're 7-3 in their last. So are they really
They're
that far out?
sellers. They're sellers. What's their overall record right now? Let me remember.
44-55.
No, they're sellers, John. Nope. I think that they're going to get rid. And by the way, they're going to get rid of Nolan, and they're going to get rid of Goldschmidt. I think so. And maybe the third guy that we talked about earlier. They're just going to, and I can't believe because the Cardinals are. I mean, they're the Yankees' rivals, really, in a lot of ways. So they were always right there. It's funny you both having bad years the same year, because for years you never did. I mean, they're a pain in the neck to the Mets for the longest time, the Cardinals. So, I just think they're going to get rid of their players. At least
You want to start with them? You want to start on this? I mean, the Nationals, I wouldn't. I'd sell.
No, the Nationals are going to go. Who cares?
I'd sell Lane Thomas as high as I possibly can if I'm the
Right,
Nationals. That would
right,
be the goal. Try to
right,
get as much as you can for him because he's having an amazing year.
right.
But
And they actually just beat San Francisco 2 days in a row. They messed them up. The Dodgers are loving them for that.
all right,
But
we'll start with the Brewers. They're leading the division. They are. They just beat the Braves. You know, they're about to play the rubber match tomorrow. I mean, contenders.
right. Yeah, they're pretenders. Will they buy? Yes, because they're in first place. How could you not? But I don't think there's just something missing with them. They do have two pretty good hitters, Yelich, I think, and there's another one. But they don't win, John, no matter who they got. And they got pitchers. I mean, don't they got some really live. I think one of them was an ex-Met, right? Was it Bader? Is that him? He was a Met in the beginning of his career. Mets let him go. They traded him there for nothing. But no, there's just something not right with them. I mean, they're five. This is almost like reviewing the American League Central because they're all like 500 and they're all garbage, really. And the Brewers are.
I mean, these guys have young cores though, and they're coming up. I mean, guys like Tarong. I mean, even though he went down, Garrett Mitchell was
Right.
just electric.